Right. So, should we have it says live on Facebook, so is that
Yep.
it? Should it go green or something?
No, I think that's it.
Brilliant. Right. Well, welcome to Diane Brown of Active Wellbeing. And I just wanted to say a little bit about how we met. We actually met online through a networking group and had this amazing sort of synergy between us because we feel very similar about exercise and movement and just being healthy. And to our surprise, we found that we both live in Thirsk, which was amazing. So,
Andy.
um, so although we've been in lockdown and probably not got to see each other too much out of that time, we have managed to connect here and there online and also just a bit in person when we've been allowed. And, I think Diane's got some really exciting things that she can share with you. One of the things I thought to ask her initially really was, what are the types of things that people generally find affect their motivation surrounding exercise? Like, what are the things you deal with all the time?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So, the sort of things that affect people's motivation. So, time pressures is a big one. So, a lot of people struggle to find time for exercise, even when they feel like they want to do it, but they feel they've not got time to fit it in. And that's a really interesting one, actually, because a lot of pressures around time it can be motivation related, because when we have pressures on time, it says something about our prioritization, what we actually put in first, because we all have the same amount of time, and increasingly we all have lots of pressures on our time, but some people prioritize doing exercise and being active more than others. So then it kind of comes down to motivation to prioritize the exercise. So motivation and time are very closely interlinked. So that's a really big one. Another one that I come across a lot with mums in particular is guilt. So actually they feel like they want to do exercise, but they feel guilty about spending time on themselves, away from the family, away from the children, away from what they feel should be their main responsibilities. And actually that's very much a perception thing, how you perceive the way you spend time on yourselves and what the value of that is. So that's quite closely linked into motivation as well. Some people just call themselves lazy, which I don't believe. I don't believe anyone is lazy. But we all have preconceived ideas about what we think exercise is as well. And sometimes, or quite often, in fact, I can talk to somebody through why they don't feel motivated to exercise. And it's actually because of the type of exercise they're trying to make themselves do. They have this preconceived idea about it being hard work and the sort of thing they need to do, and that's the type they really don't want to do. And I try to shift that perspective to, well, what would you enjoy doing? What would feel good to do? And look at it in a different way. And you can feel a whole lot more motivated when you're actually choosing a type of movement that you enjoy, rather than forcing yourself to do something that you don't.
No, that's super important. It's interesting because I think my observation is really online, and maybe particularly this second lockdown, that a lot of people were sort of really struggling with getting up and getting going, whereas on the first one they did. And I read a really interesting article yesterday, which was kind of the opposite opinion, really, to what I was seeing online. Was they were saying that it was in the Financial Times health section, and it was talking a lot about how people tend to kind of fall off and drop off with exercise when they're talking about it more from a fitness perspective. And the reason why people have really stuck to it a little bit more this time is because they've had that enforced hour, where they know they can get out and they can do some exercise, but it's been more of a mental well-being thing rather than a fitness thing. And so I think sometimes it's maybe how we put our priorities on it, whether it is that mental well-being thing or is it a fitness thing. And so maybe seeing it as that it can be a lot of different things to each person.
Absolutely. So so there's a few things in there to unpick. So yes, it's absolutely means different things to different people, and understanding what it means to you is important, because again, we can fall into this trap of doing things because of how other people think we should be doing them and the reasons why we think they think we should be doing it. It gets very complicated, too much thinking going on. So tapping into our own sense of what's important for us is really important. That helps motivation as well. But it's actually, that's really nice to see that that's come out in the article, because it's one of my big things actually about being active is the mental well-being benefits and that side of it, which is vastly underplayed. I mean, it's just as important as physical well-being and health. But when we think of exercise and fitness, we tend to think about bodily, physical health, which I suppose because we're moving our bodies, it's kind of natural, because you can't see what's going on up here, can you? But actually the mental well-being benefits are really huge as well. And there's, you know, tons of research literature to back that up. But we don't tend to see it that way, and we tend to undervalue it, and which is a real shame, but for two reasons. First of all, we're missing out on that opportunity to give our mental well-being a real boost, because it's quite easily accessible to say go out for a walk in the day and give yourself that little bit of a boost. But also, as you said in the article, if you focus on mental well-being, it's actually easier to keep going. And one of the reasons for that is because you can get mental well-being benefits really quite short term. When you're looking for physical benefits, typically the guidance is 6 to 8 weeks for a new sort of training routine to start to show physical results. And if you start feeling despondent or feeling like it's hard work after 3 to 4 weeks, you never reach that point of feeling like you're really getting the benefit. And if that physical benefit is your main goal and you don't feel like it's working, then yeah, that can become a challenge and make you feel like you don't want to keep putting the effort in. But when you make mental well-being the goal, and you can see that after one walk, 1 week of walking, 2 weeks of walking, it's starting to lift your mood and help you feel better, you actually feel a more immediate benefit. And then the brilliant thing is you'll still get all the physical benefits as well, but because you focus more on the mental side, it's actually a much nicer, more self-compassionate, self-nurturing way to go about things. So that's why I really love to focus on that mental well-being side.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, that's such a big thing. I mean, I think we've kind of been fed the whole exercise thing is and movement is really about getting fit and being stronger and being more flexible, and everything that kind of gets thrown out there is this big message, and it's bigger is better, and people really lose sight of these small things. And I think I always say less is more in what I do, and I think people can do very small things to help themselves in any walk of life, no matter what you're trying to deal with. You just start small and you gradually build, and you work on what you enjoy, which is exactly what you're saying. And that's why I really love your programs. I think they're brilliant. You know, active well-being just sort of suits it to a T. It really just helps people to understand that, you know, you can take these little steps that just make these huge improvements in your life. So I thought it'd be great if you could just tell us a little bit about your program and what you're hoping to achieve with it, what you're doing already with people, and how do you do it?
Sure. Yeah, sure. So it's evolved a little bit actually through the course of the year, because I started the year running it as a sort of fairly typical, let's say, 12-week program. But I've decided to open it up more to give people more longer term access, because making a lifestyle change can take some time. You know, 12 weeks is recommended for exercise interventions in the exercise psychology world. 12 weeks is a really good frame of time for making changes and adapting to those changes. But actually, often we need anything up to a year to really make things habitual. And I also like to make the access at least a year, because that takes us through the seasons as well, and we get different challenges through different seasons of the year, and it means people can work with me over the longer term to go through those ups and downs, because we all have ups and downs and they're totally natural. So it's now actually set up as a 12-month membership program, and the way it works is that I have a group of ladies doing the program, who are all lovely, and hopefully some of them will watch this, and you're all doing fantastic. And every week we get together and have a live coaching session. So that's an opportunity for them to talk me through their week, what's worked, what hasn't worked, what do they feel they need some help with. And so that's, you know, just some gentle accountability, let's call it, because I don't make anybody do anything, but it means they've got someone to come back to and discuss the kind of exercise they're doing and how they feel about it. So we have that every week, and then they have mindset. There's a mindset section in there, which are pre-recorded tasks. So you go online, you download the task, and you do something around mindset. And as I say, there's 12 of those, which are taken from the original 12-week program. And that's really, it's really a lovely way to develop self-awareness about your approach and your attitudes towards exercise, and if there are any of those perceptions that are getting in your way, and also to recognize the importance of being kind to yourself and to recognize the steps that you are taking. There was the last workshop that went into these pre-recorded sessions was actually one of my favorites, because it was on celebrating success, and I think that's so important to have that in our mindset as well, celebrating success, and not to get bogged down in the things that we feel like they're still not quite good enough, because actually anything that we're doing that's progress is worth celebrating. So yeah, so it's a combination of these live sessions and these mindset sessions that people do in their own time, and then it's through a Facebook group, so you know, people come in and can chat and ask questions and show pictures of the walks they've been on and all that sort of thing. But it just helps to create a lovely community where you are doing your own thing with your exercise, and you set your own goals and you decide how much you want to do, with as much or as little guidance from me as you feel you need. But then you have a community to come back to and share what's working, or ask for advice if something, you know, you need to change and do differently, and celebrate each other's progress. So it's just a really nice, yeah, it's a really nice group to be in, even as the person running it. Hopefully it's nice to be in it for the participants as well. And what I've found, so this group has been running for, I think it's 7 weeks now, and what I've found is that with the people in there at the moment, the ladies in there at the moment, as they go through, their understanding of themselves is deepening all the time, and they are recognizing what they can do, and they are recognizing that it's okay to choose things for enjoyment, and it's okay not to do everything all at once, and it's okay to, you know, just keep taking those small steps in the right direction. And that's really, really lovely to see that 7 weeks in that they're taking that journey already.
No, I think that's absolutely brilliant. I mean, that accountability, and I've found this even with other things that I've done. You know, if you get into a group setting and you know, maybe you didn't do all you wanted to do that week, and actually being in a group of people who actually say to you collectively that that's just okay, you know, and that's fine. And I think sometimes even verbalizing it really helps you to understand maybe why that didn't happen, and so that the next time you feel that way, you can kind of switch that off and say, right, or acknowledge it, or whatever you need to do, and then just sort of carry on, because once you carry on, it becomes easier to keep doing that, I think.
Yeah, it's really interesting, the process of just saying things out loud to people, and one of my inspirations for setting up the group, because I can and I do one-to-one coaching as well, but there's a really lovely thing, extra thing you get from a group, that you get this, it's kind of being seen, somebody's seeing what you're achieving, because you could have your own fitness goals or exercise goals and go up and do them yourself, that's fine. But you're not always surrounded by friends or family who are going to particularly recognize what you're doing, unfortunately. And you might try and go, oh, look at this great walk I went on, and they could be all completely unimpressed. But you know, when you're in a supportive community like this, you know you're going to have the support, and you know people are going to recognize and see the hard work that you're putting in, and celebrate the success with you. And I think that's so important. I think particularly for women who spend so much of their time holding everybody else up, it's nice to have a community that can hold you up and keep you going as well.
Yeah, no, that's brilliant. No, I didn't say it earlier, but if people have questions, would you please, if you're watching this later on, pop them into the post with the live recording of this, and Diane is in the group. She can come back and help answer any questions that you might have. You may have interest in her programs because they're absolutely fantastic, or you may just want a little bit of advice just to start you off. And so don't be afraid, Diane's lovely, and I'm sure she can help you out with your motivation and mindset and exercise questions that you have. So I just wanted to say thanks so much to Diane for appearing in the group today in this live interview. And I really hope that you guys do take advantage of her knowledge and expertise and ask those questions. And yeah, have you got anything else you'd like to add before we go?
No, just thank you for inviting me. It's been really lovely just chatting about things I love to do. So yeah, it's been lovely.
Yeah.
Thank you. But yes, if anyone has any questions, I'm more than happy to jump in and answer those. So yeah, just let me know.
Brilliant. So I hope you guys have really enjoyed this. I do intend for this to be a more regular feature, that I bring in people who have areas of expertise that are sort of outside of my practice and what I do. So if there are things that you're interested in, I'll pop a post into the group and I'll make it at the top where there's an announcement. If there are things that you're really interested in, please do let me know. Although we've not been connected so much physically and meeting people during this time of lockdown, I've actually met some amazing practitioners in various fields. And I would really love for you to be able to meet them, just as we've met Diane today, and have the opportunity to ask questions about things that you're really interested in. So enjoy, make sure you comment and ask your questions. If there's anything you're interested in, do let me know. So take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Thanks. Bye.